Are you ready? He's ready. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from Police Academy and so many other amazing things, Leonardo himself, Brian Tochi. And he was Cousin Oliver on the Brady Bunch. But you know him best as Michaelangelo, Robbie Rist. And an amazing martial artist from the age of 6. He spent his whole life training. He's an amazing actor to boot. Please welcome Ernie Reyes Jr. Donatello himself is here. Welcome, Ernie. Yeah. Break it down. Break it down. Excellent. And that's only 3 of our turtles, right, you guys? Because we've got one more. The amazing, he was the star of Showdown. He's been so many amazing things, but you know him as Raphael, Kenn Scott. Woo! Yeah. Fantastic stuff, man. Boom, boom, doom, doom. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We got stairs, I think, on both sides. Maybe not over there. There's definitely stairs over here. Fantastic. Okay. Very, very cool. Now, what's a group of turtles without a really cool reporter to show you who they are, right? I'm, of course, referring to April O'Neil herself from Halloween Town. It's Judith Hoag! Ah, yes, so good to see you. Fantastic. And every franchise needs a villain. And one of the coolest villains of all time is the Shredder. He was in Lost. He was in The Expanse. He is none other than Francois Chau. Woo. Excellent. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hey, I want you guys to practice something. Because you're about to see a movie tonight. And every time you see that character, we love Francois, but we hate the Shredder. So when you see the Shredder on screen tonight, promise me that everyone's going to go, boo. I need you to practice one time like we're going to see the Shredder. Ready? Shredder!
Well done.
You guys do that tonight, it's going to kick ass.
You guys are the best. Awesome. Welcome one and all, everybody. It looks like we've only got there's some microphones for everybody. Great. Everybody grab one of those. They're color-coded. Grab the blue one and the red one. That's amazing. There's one for everybody. I hope there's a yellow one for April.
Oh, let's see, look, they go down.
Oh, wow. This is fun. They're discovering microphones for the first time. Our voices do what they do.
Check.
I bet you they were in some sort of sequential order. That the incredible.
It's not unusual
I love it.
to have
Everybody says like boom-a-ding-ding.
It's
All right.
chaos.
Blah, blah,
Wow, this is what we trained for.
Go
Controlled
give actors
chaos.
microphone.
Or in this,
Everybody knows
funny
that.
Valentine.
Oh my God.
is there a Michael? Michael, are you out there? Michael, raise your hand if you would. Michael,
I'm sure there's a lot of Michaels.
Just a quick,
Mikey, where are you?
It's a quick mic check, all right? Everything's looking good.
We're good.
Let's warm up here. I'm going to take off my sweatshirt.
Oh, it is a little.
Ooh, da,
Yes.
da, da, da,
Where are you going? I don't know. There he is.
It's the sexy Robbie Rist.
You gotta make a secondary grand entrance. Awesome. Okay, everybody.
Wow.
Let's bring it together here. These guys are here
Cocktails.
because it's amazing. Well, that's a great reason too. Yeah. Everybody, it's so good to have you here with us today. I'm so glad that you were able to join us. Can you guys hear okay up on the stage?
Oh, yeah.
Very good, very good.
When one person speaks, we We hear great.
Yeah, one at a time, exactly. Now, guys, this movie came out somehow, I was telling the audience, 34 years ago. And I wanted to take back down the line, kind of, starting with you, Robbie. What was your first time seeing this movie like? When you finally saw the final finished product, did you go to one of the premieres?
I couldn't actually watch it as a movie probably for about 2 or 3 times, because the first 2 or 3 times I'm like, I didn't read that right. So there was a lot of that, right? There was a lot of sort of tearing the thing down and going, Bob, nah. And then like about halfway through the second viewing, I'm like, Bob, hey, that's kind of a cool scene. And then, by 3, I was like, yeah, and I sucked balls on that one, whatever. The movie's good, though. And then I was good. And then I was fine.
That's crazy. Well, that's a movie in itself. Kenn, you got to, I just want to cut to you with that same type of question, because you saw the premiere, not the Los Angeles premiere, right? But a different one.
When I saw the film, I saw it at the cast and crew screening in New York. Whenever you make a movie, and once the movie's done, they have a private screening, and they invite most of the people that worked on the film, the cast, the crew. It's called a cast and crew screening. And that's their chance to kind of see it before it comes out and celebrate their work together and all that stuff. So I was living in North Carolina, where this movie was actually shot in North Carolina. And the movie was over. We were waiting to get started on number 2. And that all of a sudden I get a call, hey, you're invited to the cast and crew screening. This is my first one in my whole life. I was like, this is amazing. I'm going to do it. So I bought myself a plane ticket. I flew up from North Carolina to New York. I just found a hotel. I'm wandering around New York. I go to this theater. It was like the Angelica or something. I don't really remember the theater. And it was just, and I don't know if that's where it was. But anyway, suffice to say.
Was it the Ziegfeld?
I think it was at Rockefeller Center, or no, I don't know where it was. I don't remember. But it felt like I was in the middle of nowhere, to be honest, in New York. I was there by myself.
Angelica.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there you go. And then and I saw the movie at a cast and crew screening, and most of the cast and crew was a lot of Los Angeles people. So this was a much smaller version. There wasn't really any cast there. I think Michelin was the only cast member there, the guy that played Michaelangelo at that time in the suit, the guy that does the suit performer. So anyway, that was my first cast and crew screening, and it was awesome. But when I saw the movie, I couldn't really watch it. All I kept thinking was, I can't wait to see that scene that I'm in. And that was it. I'm just waiting for that, and all the rest is fodder. Everything's just going by. And then I'm like, that was me. And then I'm like, okay, that was pretty much it. It was just a whirlwind of color and weirdness and magic and awesomeness, and it was great.
I love that. Thanks, Kenn. Give it up, guys. Now,
that's kind of the actor's thing, where it's like, all right, I'm going to look in the script and see what I have to do. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, there's me. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, that's me. Blah, blah, blah. That's kind of what he was doing. That's me. No, I had no idea what Ninja Turtles were, but when I was working, it was kind of a fun little thing. You never know what's going to be popular, what's not going to be popular, what's going to be a hit. That's a lucky thing if you get a hit or not. And so when I went to the theater and saw the lines, I go, this is a good sign. This is a really good sign. And lo and behold, that weekend, it became the largest grossing weekend for any independent film in the history of film. I said, it's a winner. That's good. So that's what I thought.
It's a good answer. I love that. Judith, you don't have to answer the exact same question on that one. I was actually curious, in your case, with all of the different segments of the movie, you're one of only a handful of people who is physically featured on screen. When you were filming the movie, I was wondering what sort of scenario was that when they would have the heads on looking around, and the choreography was fantastic. But from your point of view, what do you remember about filming?
Well, everybody pull up a chair. It was brand new technology. It was Henson's Creature Shop. It was animatronics 1.0. And so there was a tremendous amount of bugs in it. And we would be shooting, and then all of a sudden a turtle's face would one eye would go crazy, and the part of the mouth would droop, and smoke would come out of the turtle pack, and we'd have to stop. And it happened all the time. And so I coined a phrase called MTB, which was Major Turtle Breakdown. And so, but it's part of, the learning curve of a new technology. You got to work out the bugs. And so what started happening was that they'd come in and they'd shoot the master, and the master is the long shot. Say, I'm shooting you guys. I'm going to shoot everything from a big lens. And then I'm going to come in and say, it's starring you four. I'm going to come in, I'm going to shoot you, I'm going to shoot you, I'm going to shoot all your close-ups, all your overs. So if, say, shooting over my shoulder to you. Anyway. And then people get shot out. And so what they did is they shot and that's called coverage. So they would shoot everybody's coverage except mine. And so by the time they got to me, the turtles were exhausted. I'm sure you guys will ask questions about what it was like to be in those suits. And it was, so what they did is they would take basically something called a C-stand. It looks like a microphone stand. They'd put a paper plate on it and put a smiley face. And then they'd say, that's Leonardo, that's Michaelangelo, that's Donatello, that's Splinter, and it was like, and that's Raph. No, Raph's gone, he's taken off. And so I had to act to paper plates. And so here's the thing. You're like, oh, God, it's so much better when the turtles are actually there. But those are kind of the moments where you go, okay, you have to just pretend that you're a child and you're just making pretend. And when you were little and you were being chased by something, your heart was racing and you thought you were going to be, eaten alive by the dinosaur or tiger or whatever it was. So it was really like, Judith, you need to go into your child mind and just pretend your heart out. And so that's what I did. And so anytime there was a real turtle, or if I had a scene with Elias, or maybe I was doing something with Chief Stearns, or my boss, Charles, or Danny, or something, when there was an actual human, it was great because I knew I would have somebody there the whole time. But I would just get as much as I could when we were shooting our master and when we were shooting with the turtles. And then just remember, what did that feel like? And then just make pretend.
Wow, it works.
And you were brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant.
She was brilliant.
Now, Ernie, moving down here to you, you have been, since age of 6, training in martial arts, right? Like your whole life with your father. But this movie was probably the first time that you had to wear something of that magnitude in order to perform. And I was wondering if you could share some of your experience, Kenn as well, with wearing the suits and performing in them both safely and efficiently.
Yeah. So let's see. I grew up, as a child actor doing TV shows and films and stuff like that. And then this was when I got called. So the first movie, they had 4 guys that were from Hong Kong that were going to do all the stunts. So this was actually the first time that I was working on a movie where I was working as a stuntman and not as an actor. Even though I did all my own stunts in martial arts, I was always like playing the character as well. So this was the first time that I was actually doubling for a character and doing just martial arts and had no lines or any acting responsibilities. So that was kind of a fun thing for me because, there's other pressures of having to do other things. So this was a cool project where I was just gonna have to worry about choreography and doing the martial arts. What was the question again?
You're basically covering it. No, that's it. How did you perform in the suit? That sort of thing.
I feel that.
However the story ends up going. It's
Yeah,
great.
no, let me hook it up. Because what was it like in this movie that they're about to watch?
When you were Donatello, what was the process like to put together the fights? And then what's like a memorable moment or so for you in doing the fights?
Yeah, I think, so the process was basically we would be breaking down whatever we were shooting, say we have a schedule. So we would work on the stuff that was coming up first on the schedule. So we would break down a scene and we would choreograph. We had foot soldiers, so we would kind of break into little mini groups. So all the turtles would individually break up into little groups, and they would either have 1, 2, or 3 foot soldiers that they were going to be working with in terms of like their fight scene. So we would go and we'd create basically, what we wanted to do based upon what was happening in the scene, and then we would go back to the stunt coordinator and basically do a demonstration of what we had put together. And then he would either give us a thumbs up or make some sort of suggestion or have a note. And so that was the process. And that was for me like a very special moment, just being able to, I grew up doing martial arts fight scenes since I was a little kid, mostly of which my dad choreographed. And I was always pitching in ideas, but this was the first time that I actually got to do it myself and come up with everything from scratch. But I also had like years and years and years worth of demonstration experience. So I knew a lot of things. I brought a lot of the stuff that I had done just traveling all across the country performing. A lot of that is in the choreography as well. But what was the question again? No.
You're doing great with that. That was
Okay, good.
fantastic. Do you want to add anything to that, Ken, as one of the performers?
No, I think what's awesome is when you see tonight, like in the film, you're going to see fight scenes take place that were choreographed by a guy named Pat Johnson, who was also the Karate Kid. He taught Ralph Macchio and Billy Zabka. At the end of Karate Kid, he's the referee that's like, go to your sensei and all that. That's Pat Johnson, and he's a legend in the martial arts. So he worked with Ernie and these guys from Hong Kong to sort of coordinate the stuff, and everybody contributed to create these dances. And the Hong Kong guys were kick-ass. I actually started as a foot soldier. I didn't start as Raphael. So I was one of the guys getting beat up by the turtles at the beginning. And then the guy that was Raphael got hurt, and I became Raphael. It's a whole other thing that you can read about in my book, Teenage Ninja to Mutant Turtle. On Amazon.
It's actually a good book.
It's actually
It
a
is a good
fantastic book. And the way it's written, you can open to any given chapter and read a full story about something going on. It's a really nice time passer.
It's
with some
marvelous,
really great
and you should get it. It's a marvelous book. But no,
It's definitely available.
But that being said, so Pat,
And autograph it.
yeah. So Pat let everybody contribute and created these great fight scenes that's a mix of like Hong Kong fight choreography, Ernie, who brought everything he brought to Donatello. Ultimately, I'm Raphael, and my growing up in North Carolina going to karate tournament shit, sorry, that fulfilled like Raphael's fighting style. So every turtle really does have different styles, and it's part of the character that comes out in what they're doing. Raphael's super brutal, Donatello, anyway, it's really cool. Watch tonight as you see them unfold, and you'll see different influences of the way turtles move when they fight. It's pretty cool.
Now, that's fantastic. Now, when this movie came out, it became, like Brian said, the highest grossing independent film in history. What a huge thing to just exist. Who knew it would be such a phenomenon? It's amazing, right? Now, Francois, stepping into the role of the Shredder for Secrets of the Ooze, obviously this being a phenomenon, maybe or maybe notwithstanding, what to you do you put into being a good villain?
Is this
This
on?
thing on?
Is it on? Is it
Oh,
on?
there it is.
There we go. Hey. First of all, I wasn't in the first movie, so I have no idea who these people are. Hey, whoa!
That's fair.
I had read the comic books way before the movies. I saw the first movie. I thought, oh man, they did a great job putting this on screen, because you read the comic books and you go, well, 4 turtles, a rat and this and that. How are they going to do that? But they did a great job, and I thought, man, it was just great. The James Saito, who was the first Shredder, is a friend of mine who I'd known for 40 years or so. He told me the reason, but I forgot. But he couldn't do the second movie, so they auditioned a bunch of actors for the Shredder for the second movie, and I went down to the place, me and most of the other guys I know that I see at audition all the time, and we did our thing, and then they hired me, and I said, hey, man, this is great. I'm going to be spending, 5 weeks in where?
North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Wilmington, North Carolina.
What? Okay.
We got some North Carolina
By
down
the
there,
beach.
I think. Yeah. Excellent.
But no, it was, it was great. By that time, the first movie was a huge hit, and I was a little nervous about doing it. I was a little disappointed because they changed the movie. They made it a little more kid-friendly, I guess. So I was like, hey, yeah, I could get to do some fight scenes. I could do some this and that. No, that they took that all out. I stood around and get those turtles or get those guys or whatever. That's about it. But it was still a lot of fun. And like you said, you never know what you work on something and then you hopefully go on to the next project and then.
You were still a badass.
You're the badass Shredder.
He's just misunderstood. Come on.
All the best villains are. Just misunderstood. Now, you mentioned a minute ago about the audition process. And so, Brian, I kind of want to pull it back to you. Tell the story about how you became Leonardo.
Oh. Okay. No, actually, it's really funny because, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were brought to the United States from a company called Golden Harvest. And they went to every major studio. They went to Disney, 20th Century Fox, Universal, Paramount, everybody. And they were completely turned down by everyone. So there was this little company at the time called New Line Cinema. And all they were really known for was the Freddy movies, the Nightmare on Elm Street. So they said, well, we'll take a chance with a thing called the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, blah. And so they did. They put the team together, the production team. They put the cast together, and I was not part of the cast. Boo. And so they started shooting, but they fired the Leonardo.
Yay!
What?
And then they hired another guy.
Boo!
And then they fired him.
Yay!
Well, I was working on another project then, and so I just finished, and somebody said, Brian Tochi, that's me, it became available. Do you think he might be interested? So they talked to producers, called my agent, and they said, would he be interested in this thing called the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie? And I go, what the heck's that? You think Teenage Mutant Ninja, it's a horror film, right? They go, no. It's these little turtles, they're in the sewer, little ooze drops on them, they start growing, they become these karate badass guys with a little surfer bent. And I go, I think I can do that. So they hired me. Yay! And they didn't fire me. Yay! And I got to work with these incredible, lovely, talented people, and I'm just so grateful. Yay!
I love it. Now, Robbie, there were a handful of people out there who said they have never seen the movie that's going to play here tonight. There's at least 5 people out there.
That's so cool.
My interesting question to you, Robbie, what would you say to them going into this for the first time?
What do you know? How much about it did you know going in? That's the first question. Do you know about the cartoons you have to have lived under a rock to not know about all the things. So this is not what started it. That's the cartoon. They were part of the reason there was such a big war to get this movie made between the director and the production company is that the cartoon sanded off all the edges of the comic book, which meant they sold a lot of toys. And Steve Barron, right?
Brilliant auteur.
Steve Barron,
The director of the movie.
wanted it to be like the comic book. And Golden Harvest said, but we want to sell toys. And he said, I want to make a comic book. And what you ended up with is actually, I believe, a really nice balance of both. It's as people have told me when they first saw the movie and Raph says, damn, for a lot of young people, that was their first grown-up movie. But also, it is, I mean, we're all in this room tonight. We're all doing this thing all weekend because of a kid's movie that came out in 1990. And apparently, it has enough of balance of all of the things that are good in movies because we're all here still talking about it. And that's amazing. It's a real test. So, and then I would say, if you haven't seen it before, prepare to be mightily entertained.
Oh, go ahead, build it up.
Yeah, great answer, great answer.
It's all right.
Yeah, it's a pretty good movie. I think you'll enjoy it, right? The others will talk you into it. They'll explain it to you if you have any questions.
Robbie's just very enthusiastic.
Judith, when you were filming the picture, did you have a favorite part that stood out to you at any given time? There were a lot of moments, I'm sure, behind the scenes, but...
There were, I mean, I think one of the most fun days for me, there were a lot of different ones to choose from, was a day when we were shooting in the sewer. And it's the day that Raphael has saved April from the Foot Clan in the subway. And I wake up and there's a rat's face in my face. And Steve Barron had a very specific way that he wanted me to do it. And when I met him the first time, if I could do this thing, then I could get the job probably. And it was the, thing that I labored over because I was like, nobody does that. But it's really what he wanted. And then the scene started, and the turtles are there, and we're all screaming at each other. And as we're shooting this, and we shot a little bit, I feel like it was one of the earlier shots. Once we got into the studio, it was one of the first days. And out of the corner of my eye, I'm like, no, are you kidding me? And it's Jim Henson. And you can't miss him. It's Jim Henson. Part of the reason why I wanted to do the movie was Henson's Creature Shop. Jim Henson was going to be part. It was, yeah. And there he was in my eye line, and my brain is starting to scream because I'm fangirling out. But there's another part of my brain that's saying, stop, you're shooting a movie. Pay attention. Oh, right, talk to the turtles. Jim Henson's still right there. He might as well be in the shot with me. So somehow I managed to get through it. And as soon as I was done, it was like, please take me over to Jim Henson. Somebody introduce me to him because I'm fangirling out. But that I will never forget because it was the best illustration of how many people live in your head at once.
That's fantastic. Yes, give it up.
And you're going to see a reaction on the film momentarily.
Exactly. Is it in the film where you see Jim Henson? Can you,
I'm sure.
So that reaction is there? That's fantastic. Now, Ernie, when with all of the stuff that you did, so many different scenes, so many different scenarios, were there ever any stunts or scenes that went kind of wrong, or not necessarily that you would change, but were there any accidents or anything on the set?
No, I think I think the scariest sequence for me was when we were when the farmhouse was burning down, and we were basically on the second floor, and we were going to come crashing through the ceiling. So when you do those kinds of things, you're like up on a floor, and you just basically have to step out and know that the floor is going to give out underneath you. So there's fire going on. It's already 100-something degrees. Now we're in the suits, and we're like fire going on. That was probably a little bit the time that I got like a little like, okay, now I'm actually being a stunt guy. This is like, we're not doing fight scenes anymore. There's burning fires, and I'm like crashing through ceilings. But that was just like a memorable moment that sticks out in my mind.
That was one of those where you get one take.
Yeah.
That's it. They're not going to be able to put that ceiling back.
Yeah.
And because that one gag of when it falls, we shot, it's like shoot up to the moment the ceiling falls, cut, cover, drop the ceiling, everybody run in, start it. And it would, that was a day. That was a day. Long, or a night. I don't remember. It always felt like night.
Filming.
Yeah.
Whole fights, those scenes. Off
Yeah.
The apartment down in the antique shop.
It's incredible. Incredible.
Are you guys excited?
Awesome, guys.
Are they allowed to ask questions, or
Yeah, what do you guys want to know?
Who has a
What do you wanna know?
Let's go right here. Why not? Yeah. Let me bring the mic over. Or you can just say it and I'll say it again.
Jump down there, man.
10 years ago, maybe.
First off, I want to say just thank you guys for just being you and coming together all those years ago to do this. To this day, I consider the year I went to go see the movie and then had a pizza party at my local bowling alley as one of my absolute favorite birthday of my life.
Yay!
What do you want to know?
I had a question for April. I wanted to know, is it true Robin Williams really did coach you on what to expect while you were filming the other project with him before this?
He didn't coach me, but what he did is he supported me. And so when I was shooting a movie with Robin Williams, Tim Robbins, Fran Drescher, Lori Petty, a whole bunch of folks, in New York, called Cadillac Man, and I got Ninja Turtles. And so what they would do is on the weekend, like on Friday, I would fly to Wilmington, North Carolina, do some pre-production. Then we moved into a little bit of shooting, and then I'd have to hop back onto a plane on Sunday, get back to New York, because I had to shoot Monday morning. And Robin wanted to know, what are you doing? Where are you going? And so I told him I was doing another movie, and he was like, oh, that's so cool. What's it called? I gotta say the name out loud. To Robin Williams. This is gonna hurt a little. And because I didn't know the comic book. I didn't know there was a cartoon. So to me, it was just this weird title and this really sweet script. And I said, it's called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I mean, it's a great movie. And he said, it was what? And I said, it's called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but it is a really great movie. And he just looked at me and got this big smile on his face, and he said, they're making a movie of that? And I was like, yeah. And he said, are you April? And I was like, yeah. Well, yes, I am. Of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. No, and so he was really excited about it, and he said, I had the very first comic book. I love those comics. I've been collecting comics forever, and so he made sure he helped facilitate that I could get out of there on my Fridays, and then they shot me out of the movie, and then we shot it, and then when the movie premiered at Universal in 1990, he flew down from San Francisco with his family and came to the screening or to the premiere, and it was the sweetest thing, and he was the sweetest man. He was the sweetest man. Taught me so much.
That's an amazing story. I love that. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been asked to let you know that the bar will be closing in approximately 15 minutes. So get your final drinks in before the
we'll
movie.
need our
so very cool.
cocktails.
So I've heard a lot about. I've heard a lot about that there was an RC like helicopter or plane plane landing strip nearby, and that was interfering a lot with the turtle heads and things like that. So you said there was total turtle breakdown, you said it was called?
Massive turtle, MTB, massive turtle breakdown.
And so did they ever find out some way of like maybe fixing that or like stopping the?
Well, I'm sure that there was some interference in terms of there's so much bandwidth that to go around.
For what she's talking about is there was an airport near where we shot the movie, and so when airplanes would come in and talk on their radio, their frequency would interfere with the turtle heads. So a plane going overhead could make the turtles go crazy. And I mean, they would go crazy. And so yeah, that was an issue. And ultimately, it was just a hit or miss kind of thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They started to wear tinfoil hats.
Somebody knew.
Yeah.
Okay, so less of a question, but more of just an appreciation, and I'm sure the audience will back me up here. But the moment that the turtles exit April's apartment, and Judith, you turn around, and the camera's facing you, and you place your head back on the door and touch the door with the back of your head. That moment so perfectly captures how April's life is permanently changed by the turtles having entered her life. And it's the simplest little thing, but I love that moment of this film so much. So I just want to thank you for that.
Wow. Let me tell you one thing. I will say, like, this was my first starring role in a film. I've come a long way in terms of growing as an actor. I was tremendously afraid doing this movie that I was gonna suck. And I really had sleepless nights about it because I was acting to paper plates. And I was, it wasn't optimal in some ways. It would go really fast. I ended up ultimately, because we had crazy sound issues, there's something called looping or ADR, which is automated dialogue recording. So about 85% of my dialogue I had to re-record and lip sync myself in an 8-hour day where I flew from New York to LA. I had never done it before. And so I kind of walked away from the film a little like, whoa, that was really hard. I loved it. It was so much fun. But as an actor, I was like, so many missed opportunities, so many things. So when I hear something like that, I can't tell you what it does to my heart, even all these years later, because there's still that person in there who wished so much that there had been a few different things that had happened that made it easier to do it. So thank you. That was really sweet. That was really sweet.
Again, thank you for all that y'all have done in this movie. It's just, this is a big deal for, I'm sure, everybody in this room to be able to chat with y'all. I have many questions that I would like to ask, but the one I'm going to ask is, are there any scenes, just like you were talking about the look when you saw Jim Henson that might be in the film, are there any basically bloopers that stayed? Or things that weren't supposed to happen or wasn't scripted that way, and then it happened and the director was like, that's perfect, we're keeping it?
Well, I think one of the biggest bloopers is in the farmhouse when I'm with Michaelangelo. Is it Michaelangelo?
No, Donatello.
Donatello, excuse me. It's been a long day. And we're happy Raph's gonna live, and he opens his mouth and you see the actor's face in there.
Looks like an alien.
Yeah, and you can't ever unsee it. So keep an eye out in that scene, and you'll, oh my gosh, yeah. But in terms of that, I'm sure there was. And I would love, love, love if someday it was possible to have Steve Barron, our brilliant director and leader and visionary of this film, to do a director's cut. Because the cut of the film is not his. Yeah. And if he could do, the narration, which are, for any filmophile, film buff, those are amazing. But yeah, it wasn't his final cut, unfortunately. And, it's kind of part of the filmmaking, and that there's always going to be mistakes that you go, I love that, keep it. Can you think of any?
Yes. Now, some of these bloopers, once you know about them, they can take the magic out of what you're seeing.
Uh-oh.
So I don't necessarily...
Leave the room if you don't want to know.
If you don't want me to ruin the magic, I won't tell you about 2 things in the movie that you can look for.
Oh,
but once
come
you see them, you
on.
can't unsee them, you know? You guys want to know? If you don't want to know, raise your
Block
hand.
your ears.
What about the
All right.
2 people that have never seen it before?
Yeah, that's why. It's no big deal.
We're just going to ruin it out of the gate.
The very first time you see a Ninja Turtle on camera in full costume is at the beginning of the movie. After they do some stuff, they come walking down the sewers. The music starts playing. You see their shadows on the wall. This is right at the beginning. And then it freezes and the logo comes up. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The logo goes away, and one by one, the turtles jump into screen. Awesome, radical, whatever they say. When they shot that scene, they didn't realize how high the actors were gonna jump to get into the scene. So they weren't wearing their turtle costumes from the knee down. And just as each one leaps into frame for a split second, you see their white sock encased human legs, one right after the other. And you're gonna say, how did I never see that?
Why did you ruin it for Ray? Ah.
So, well, let me get this straight. So you're saying that they're not really turtles?
It takes away the turtle
Oh,
magic.
man.
Whoa,
That's a blow to my childhood, man.
All right, the other thing is at the farmhouse. Yeah, I told you I was going to tell you 2. There's at the farmhouse. You're going to see one of the turtles go up on the roof at night and scream Splinter's name. Splinter! Does anybody know who that turtle is? Michaelangelo. Wow. No, it's Raphael's voice, but it's Michaelangelo the turtle. Because when they shot the movie, Michaelangelo was supposed to go through this big character change, and that was something that would be appropriate that he would do. But they edited a bunch of stuff out, and Raph seemed like the more brooding guy who would go up there and shout. So they filmed it as Michaelangelo, which you can tell because of his nunchuck holders. But the voice that you hear is Raphael's voice screaming the words. So there you go. Boom.
I'll never be the same.
Life,
Now you ruined the whole movie.
life forever changed.
These are Easter eggs you can covet for your life, treasure for your life.
We got time for, I think, one more. I'm going to take it to the gentleman back here. Saw him with his hand up.
It's great seeing you guys again. Judith, you kind of answered the question, are we ever going to get a Blu-ray DVD commentary director's cut? Because after 34 years, I think that we deserve it. You see the love of it.
I agree with you. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, there's so many cooks in this stew, and they fight with each other. And Warner Brothers, I think, now has the rights to it. They're notoriously fun to work with, and generous and kind. And they want to help filmmakers in any way they can. So, oh yes, it's coming by Christmas.
Because online, I do see a lot of this Pierre Laird home videos, the photos of the backstories. I would love to see a book come out of all that stuff.
I actually, Alan Markfield is the set photographer for the film. And I just had a conversation with him, and I am encouraging him. He's going into his archive to get some photographs for me. And I said, you've got so much there. Next year's the 35th anniversary of the film. Please make a coffee table book. I said, people will love it. And so I will tell him I was just with a large group of people.
You guys are so amazing. There's heart, there's pathos, there's love in this simple movie. It really resonated. And it really, look at us. So many years later, it's still so impactful, and we love it. We're so lucky to be a part of it. We're so happy and fortunate that you've enjoyed it yourselves, and we're so blessed to be around you, and so thank you so very much.
Yeah, give yourselves a hand.
We love you so much. We really, really do. Right.
Oh, another.
I have a villain question. That's kind of my question. So when you have panels like this, or you're at cons, you've got all the heroes. In fact, you've even slightly pulled your chairs over. I don't know if you noticed that. But, you know, and they hear things like, oh, you inspired me to be a reporter. Oh, you were my favorite. And then you get things like, I was scared of you when I was a child. You were the scariest. How do you kind of live with your legacy in a way? And do you enjoy it?
That's a cool question. That's a fun one.
It'd be kind of weird if I said I'd enjoy somebody telling me, you know, you scared the hell out of me when I was a kid. But it's a good feel. It's good because I did my job, I guess.
You did it great.
Thanks.
You did. You killed it.
All right.
Yeah. No, as you know, I play a lot of mostly bad guys. Must be something. I don't know what, but I've gotten pretty good at it, and sometimes I think, wow, that's a little creepy. But yeah, no, it's great. It's a great feeling that because believe me, many people, especially right, you guys. The first time you've seen the movies at a certain age, right, and certain things when you're at that age, somehow it catches you, it stays with you, and that's why we're all here. Is that you know, this is something that from your childhood that you like, and when they say, oh, you scared the heck out of me, they say it in a positive way. It's not like, oh my God, don't. So yeah, no, it's fine. It's good. It's good to be the Shredder.
Hey, ask Vincent Price.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Ask Vincent Price or any of, you know, Peter Cushing or
Darth
Christopher
Vader.
Lee. Darth Vader,
James
right?
Jones even, yeah. Oh, man. Fantastic. Well,
Villains
guys,
are delicious.
Hey, y'all, you're going to watch this movie tonight, and it's going to be awesome. We love these screenings because it's almost like our kind of Rocky Horror Picture Show. The audiences get into it. They cheer for the turtles. They boo the bad guy. They have a great time. So
Also, other than Rocky Horror, a way different color palette.
yes, very much so. This film is really, when the lights go down, it is a world of magic. It's a Jim Henson world of magic and Steve Barron and all that stuff. And tonight, probably for many of you, it's the first time you're seeing it on a screen this big, even if you loved it your whole life. This is a real chance for all of us who love this movie to really get into it together, have a great time. We've done these at different places, and people come back the next day and they go, that was the best night of my life. Yeah. And it is. It's so much fun. So hopefully you guys will enjoy the movie, get into it.
And if we haven't seen you or met you earlier today, and if you're going to be there tomorrow, come say hello to us. We love you guys. We really do. Just say hello.
Tell us about the screening. Tell us if you had a good time.
Well, what you think about it.
You guys are really, really going to enjoy this movie. Not as much as you would think, because I'm not in it.
All right, hey, we got to do a count. So,
Wah, wah, wah.
here's an idea. We're going to take a selfie of everybody. Oh, thanks for bringing the lights up. Yeah.
you guys all go Keno and then cheer. Wow. Let's just practice it. 1, 2, 3. Get in here. Ready? 1, 2, 3.